This is Patrick.
Go ahead. What?
You started.
You're messing me up already, Pat. It's Attorney Bose wearing my hat for the Crypto Law Center. With me, Mr. Patrick O'Brien. Pat, how are you?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
You know, Pat, you are now a lawyer with the Crypto Law Center, and you came from a traditional legacy legal background, right? Where you and I originally met, me as a criminal defense lawyer and you as a prosecutor on the other side. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
And so I hope that I didn't set you on the wrong footing, nor rub you the wrong way during during those cases. At least I hope not.
Impossible. We got together on those cases famously. It was no problem at all.
Now you've taken a turn in your career, right? You're entering into the crypto space, which you have personal experience with, but you're transitioning your career into the crypto lawyering, which is absolutely brand new. And frankly, I think it's phenomenal. How's that going?
Well, it's going great. It's a fascinating area of the law, and it's fascinating for its nebulousness. Most cases when we're dealing with in the criminal world is very small details that the law fills in. There's so much in the crypto space that is wide open expanses, and as a result, it's just a never-ending series of, well, that's an interesting question. Well, that poses some issues. Oh, there's little guidance on that, and as a result, it really has rekindled my love of the law, because we are in this position where we get to help try to define the law and try to put clients in the best position to succeed. And what is also fascinating about the space are the people involved in it, because the people involved in cryptocurrency are people that are on the cutting edge of technology. They are trying to move forward in a world that moves away from centralized finance and is working to create a world where everyone has access to money and the ability to spend it in a way that is a little bit more fair and a little bit easier. And it's so exciting to see these people working in the space, but it's also a tremendous amount of work for someone working with them, because they are go, go, go. And you are desperately going, that's great. Love the initiative. Let's talk about this.
The guys that are the developers in the blockchain space think as it's a lightning bolt, right? They are up at the wee hours of the night. They're developing, they are innovating, and to keep up with them and to just slow them down to what the law requires or what the law is going to need is a challenge. It's an absolute challenge, but it's a hoot, Pat. I'm telling you.
And I'll tell you, it's been fascinating coming in on this perspective where I was considered super tech focused. In fact, I spent a lot of my time teaching people how to use technology in the courtroom, whether they were prosecutors or something like that, or defense counsel or judges. And now I walk in here and I always laugh, because the friends of mine that I grew up with, they make video games. They went to Caltech. They're doing high-end tech trading. And I'm sitting there and they always look at me like they're cute little guy with an iPad. And for a lawyer though, I was really tech savvy. And now I'm dealing with guys that are high-end tech knowledge, incredibly high technology. And I appreciate it, because they're really, the one nice thing that's really great about the space is that people understand that there is a learning curve. and they want to help you onboard and learn the technology so that you can be really effective for them as well. Because it's really difficult to represent someone if you don't understand their technology. Every lawyer worth their salt, whether it be in intellectual property or working in contracts or whatever field they're in, the reason that lawyers are sometimes insufferable is because they're chameleons. They have to learn the business and industry that they're working in so they can really effectively represent. And trying to learn this technology, which is cutting edge, is just it's a bear, but man, is it interesting. And I'm one of these lunatics that just wants to learn nonstop, and so this field is perfect for me.
So the question that I get from the younger lawyers that ask me, Mr. Bose, can you tell me how to become a crypto lawyer? And my answer is always, listen, you got to first understand the law, and then you got to understand where the technology is going. You've got to keep two parallel knowledge bases going, and it's an extremely challenging endeavor for that reason, right? So we're keeping up with the law and the changes to the cases and the stare decisis issues that are occurring in the courts, and the regulatory environment that's occurring in the blockchain space right now, which is immense. It's a topic for another day. And we're keeping up with the technology issues and the advancements and the issues that are affecting the core intellectual property, trade secret issues to these companies that we're dealing with. And that's basically what you're saying, right? It's double the effort up front to be a crypto lawyer. But I agree with you, man. I can't imagine being in another space right now. And I certainly can't imagine being a part of, legacy law, I call it, going forward. I think legacy law is dead. It's just not interesting anymore.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine who was in the legacy law space, and we were just talking about what we've done in the space already. And it was actually was really cool to list all the things that we've done in such a short time. And you're sitting there just going, when you think about where I was, a few years ago versus and what I was doing then versus what we're doing now, it's a tectonic shift. And I just, the one thing I do feel is lucky to have the opportunity to work in this field. I mean, when you want to look back on your life, you want to feel like you were a part of something that was a change agent, that's something that moved the world in a different direction. And the one thing I feel confident about, looking at cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology, this is going to be a significant part of the future. And it is a part of the future that is going to be immense in our lives going forward. So the question is, are you going to be someone who like fights it, or are you going to be someone who's on the winning side, I would say. And the difficulty for me is thinking and putting myself in the place of where you were back in 2013. And I'm reading a book right now on cryptocurrency and the blockchain, and they talked about the cypherpunks and how they were creating this when Satoshi first put out Bitcoin. And I try to put myself in their shoes, getting that email where he announces, I'm going to create Bitcoin. And I think part of me says I'd probably be pretty comfortable with what a lot of people said, like, well, this is nuts. This is a cute idea. It's not going to go anywhere. And you think about where we are today with where Bitcoin is and where the space is. The reality is those who sat there and said, you know what, no, this is going to be big. This is going to move. Those are the people that were right. And at this point, I recognize they were right, and I'm trying to make sure I'm with them.
I put out a tweet just last night, Pat, and I wanted to comment on Michael Saylor's brilliance in the interview that he did with Foss. And I put out there something like institutional inertia just those two words, institutional inertia, just flowed off of the lips of Michael Saylor when he's talking about Bitcoin. And I'm thinking to myself, where in the hell does he get this brilliance to come up with these terms to really comprehend not just where the space has been, but to really dictate where the space is going? And I agree with you. It's phenomenal. And if you asked me in 2013 where the space would be, I couldn't have imagined the space where it is right now, nor the traction that the space has in 2021. It would be unimaginable for me. I could imagine it maybe occurring in a 20-year time frame, a 30-year time frame, but to have what we have now, it's in 10 years, 12 years, it's incredible growth. And that just shows you the light speed at which this space moves. But I'm interested, Pat, in knowing what you said to your friend about what you've done as a lawyer in capital crypto thus far.
Well, we've had some tremendous opportunities. Been working with really great partners and trying to help out, writing terms of service, for example, or providing insight into the tax implications when you receive coins versus in a liquidity pool. Recently, and also just breaking down the tax implications in general of purchasing and selling Bitcoin and any other cryptocurrency, and how that plays, and also helping set up a new company and a company trying to enter this space, and their agreements between partners and independent contractors. We've been working on a ton of different material, and we've just begun, it feels like. And there's the one thing that's fascinating is that there's so much more we can be doing and so much more we can help with. And we're just, so every day we get a call, I'm super excited. So I have no idea what they're going to be calling about, and I'm very excited to dig into it. We'll be moving in the next few weeks. I think we'll be working hard on know your customer issues, money laundering information. That's going to be a massive area of legal discussion, and areas where stake pool operators need to be really cognizant of it, where we're heading.
That AML KYC requirement. When Charles Hoskinson in his latest AML, or maybe he calls them AMAs, I forget. But Charles Hoskins comes on from time to time, and he does these impromptu little talks with the community. And such a brilliant man he is. But I was just stunned when he, in a 5 to 10 second window, talks about the regulatory environment and talks about the KYC AML requirement that's going to happen going forward, right? So that means that every stake pool operator, okay, is going to have to conduct some form of KYC AML. And frankly, those guys really don't understand what AML KYC is in the first place. So there's an education component, right? And then there's the actual logistics of putting together a compliance plan and then acting as the compliance agents for these entities so that they do things correctly and can appease Uncle Sam. So it's a tremendous amount of effort, right? And we're still, the thing that you talked about, which was that issue that we got involved with, I think last week, the tax issue. I mean, we're still trying to understand what the tax implications are in the trading efforts and the stake pool operators as they're earning their rewards in the staking of, in this case, it was ADA, but it's all other cryptocurrencies as well, right?
When you talk about, where's guidance? This is what we talk about. There's like massive holes in the law. There's information on when you Bitcoin mine, that's income. All right. And when you receive cryptocurrency after a hard fork through airdrop, that's income. Everything else is really open to interpretation, and that just it boggles the mind, because you'd expect in an industry with as much money as there is in cryptocurrency that there'd be a lot more guidance. But one thing that's a massive problem for cryptocurrency is that it's complex, and you have legislators and you have regulators who are just desperately trying to get an understanding, and then from that understanding, an ability to implement regulations and law. And we're still at a loss at so much as what's going on in this field. And that's why it's really important to have legal counsel, because you want to have someone who's going to have your back and say, this is what little we had, I interpreted, and this is what we should do. And that's why we're trying to comply with the law and comply with regulations as they stand, or comply with tax requirements. That is so important to people in the field right now. And one thing I'll say, because it has two theorists who are talking about this that they are really important. You talked about this idea of how the adoption jumps so fast. And Raul Paul from Real Vision was talking about this on Think University. And he was talking about this idea that the fastest adopted technology was cellular phones. And then the fastest adopted technology was the internet. And cryptocurrency is on pace to be faster than both of them. And he talked about how these quick adoptions build on one another and how fast everything is coming together. And one thing I thought was fascinating, I was reading about the number of Americans that use or own cryptocurrency. And in 2018, it was around 8%. In 2019, it was 14.4%. In 2021, it's probably 23.6%. So we are quickly moving towards mass adoption. And when there's mass adoption, that's going to require, the US government is not going to help, he can't help itself from wanting to get involved in regulation and the legislation. So we need to be prepared for that, and our clients need to be prepared for that. And that's why we think this is such an important field to be in right now.
And it's also shaping the field, because when we have conversations with the legislators and try to push them to understand how we see the world involved in the crypto space ourselves on a personal level, right? You want to have them be as enthusiastic about the evolution that we're seeing through our eyes and the eyes of our clients, so that they can promulgate the legislation that we need to not stifle the growth that's occurring at all, right? And frankly, Pat, I'm just waiting for the day when a circuit court judge is presented a case involving crypto. I mean, can you imagine some of our circuit court judges trying to understand what in the hell we're talking about in the first place? I mean, what is a blockchain? What are these people talking about? That's going to be hilarious.
I always remember I had this one incident where I had a judge down in Lynchburg, and he banned laser pointers from the courtroom. And so we're sitting there, and I had all this technology I was using to project things onto an iPad. And my supervisor at the time said, "You're going to be lucky if he doesn't jail you as a mage." So it's going to be some work to get to explain this stuff, but that's going to be so much of the battle for people in this space. We're explaining, like my wife, brilliant woman, absolutely brilliant. And I will try to work on explaining blockchain to her and cryptocurrency, and she'll stop and go, I thought I was smart. And then you talk to me about this. And that's going to be a real battle. We're going to have to, because it's not just, there are plenty of super smart people that have a lot of trouble understanding this world. And we're going to have to, be much better about explaining it and making it make sense to people. But I think there's a lot of exciting things going on. that are going to help make mass adoption easier, where people are going to see ease of use improve. There's one group out there, Ada Handle, for example. They've got a very exciting product that they're working on that I think is going to help in as more and more people look at that and try to model off of it. I think they're going to have the ability to really make transactions a lot easier. I think that's a force of friction that cryptocurrency has to battle, is the difficulty of getting, how do I spend this and where do I spend it? And if we can reduce that and make wallets a lot easier to understand, a lot easier to be utilized, we're moving in a really positive direction.
Yeah, and capturing that for a moment, and just talking about the friction that can occur within the space of the partnerships and the people involved in a brand new blockchain development firm itself, right? What happens when one guy gets up and says, hey, I don't want to work with you guys anymore on this particular project. I want to leave, right? How do you contain that guy so that he doesn't take all your trade secrets off with him and compete against you? And those are the issues that we'll be tackling going forward. But I wanted to keep this brief, Pat. I know I took you by surprise when I told you, Pat, put on a blazer and let's do this thing and talk about what we're doing for the past month. It's exciting to me, and I think that this space, Pat, with all honesty, this is the space that you really do want to be a part of, right? And the thing that we bring to the clientele is not just an innate love for the field of crypto and fintech and blockchain, but also a deep embedded understanding of the genesis of the field and where it's come from a long time now. So I want to thank you for being a part of this short interview. It's a quasi-commercial for the Crypto Law Center, okay? It is, okay? But it is what it is, and I hope that the audience understands that there are a set of lawyers with the passion that they have for the environment, and that will help them to propel themselves to the next level. Explaining some of these issues to them is what we do, but being able to explain it in terms of people that are brand new to the space, or worse, the regulators or the LEO environment, the law enforcement environment, or the compliance environment, or God forbid, the lady with a black robe that you're going to have to explain these things to, just the optics of what has happened, and to shape the issues properly. It's just exciting. So thank you, Pat, for spending these moments with me. Your handle on Twitter, what is that?
Is P. O'Brien 1776. POBRIEN.
1776. It was a wonderful year. Mine is Lawyer Bitcoiner, and Crypto Law Center. What is the handle of the entity?
At Crypto Law DC.
With all of that, thanks for being a part of the equation, a part of the solution. I'll be talking to you, Pat.
Thank you.